Welcome to the Nurse Dad Podcast.
My son has eczema and he broke out with...
I saw that post.
It turns out it's bullous impetigo, and it's a very aggressive form. So 2 days ago, it looked like eczema. Today, he looks like he was burned. He's got like boils and blisters. Oh my, it looks like medieval.
Only time I've ever seen physicians pull out their texts was derm. Always derm. What is that?
Thankfully, our provider has a daughter who has very similar skin problems.
Okay.
So he's so well studied because he does this with his own daughter that he knew exactly what it was. He's like, yes, my daughter looked exactly like this. I went down the rabbit hole. That's what it is. So.
Yeah, my oldest has eczema, but during the summer with the saltwater pool, really like nothing skin happens. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, his skin has been perfect for months. And it looked like a normal eczema outbreak until it seriously looks like he got burned by acid.
Is it painful though for him?
Yeah.
Oh, it is? Oh, that's hard.
He's 2, but he's so brave. He's just, these hurt. And all the skin on his fingers is peeling off. Oh,
I'm envious of you because if my wife and I had kids earlier, we would have had another one. We have 2 girls, 6 and 4. And the second pregnancy was kind of rough. But after you have kids, you just love them so much. And it's just such a home run, 1 home run, 2 home run. Let's have another home run. I just want to have another one. It's like a sense of mourning as they get older now. The 4-year-old she's still, and they both think I'm the funniest, most incredible guy in their life, but
I'm sure you are.
It's going to end at some point. It's going to be, oh, Dad, and I would love to have another one coming up. So
all mine are so close together that we're kind of like in the fire, and then we're going to be out of it all at the same time, I see.
Yeah, I know. RN Glenn, a.k.a. Nurse Dad, host of the Nurse Dad Podcast, available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And today I am very excited to have Nurse Kate Johnson. And Kate, I came across you very recently. It was just one of those things where I started this channel and I've had guests for a couple of years and I'm really gaining my bearings. And I'm pretty big into wellness. My kids force my hand at that because you get to a point where it's easy to make excuses for yourself. But when you have your kids, you tend to draw a line in the sand. But I really appreciate your channel. You're such a mom on your channel and businesswoman and wife. It all comes across. So I appreciate that. And my wife loves your channel too. But thank you very much for being here. How about I start with that?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's such a small world, I think, the nursing space, and especially nurses who are willing to speak out and be vocal on kind of the holistic wellness side of things. I think we often get put into these boxes where we're order takers and we've forgotten the space that we should own. That's my daughter. We've forgotten this space that we should own as far as being health promoters and leaders in our community when it comes to health and wellness. So I try to use my page to present that. I am, as a nurse, a leader in health and a health promoter first and foremost as a professional. It's been a really fun deviation from the bedside experience to be able to enter this space.
Yeah, preventive medicine. That's something that's getting more popular. How you doing? First child to ever come on the podcast.
My kids are always with me, so.
No, I love the transition that you made because the average person has so many choices, so much information, so much misinformation. And as a nurse, you're a patient advocate, and as a wellness promoter, you're just advocating in general. And it's a practice because anyone just can follow you and see that you're still like everyone else figuring it out. And it's now simple Google search, again, wellness advocate. You were a critical care nurse for 8 years in Washington, D.C. But the question I have is, who was Kate before her career, before her marriage? What brought you to the nursing profession?
So I wanted to become a nurse because growing up, I really wanted to do medical missions work. Anytime I would read stories of Jesus, the thing that always impressed me was how he reached people through physical healings. And he reached people a lot of different ways, but that was what always stuck out to me. So I wanted to become a nurse so that I could take those skills and use those skills to reach people and share Jesus with them. That is still very much the focus of my life is God wants us to live a life of abundance. And it's very difficult to do that. Even in the United States, where we have so much abundance, it's difficult to do that if you're sick and the focus of your life is your illnesses. I want people to be well so they can use their lives and their energy to focus on other people and serving other people and fulfilling the mission that God has for them. That's how I became a nurse. And it's been very rewarding to be able to work in a lot of different aspects of the nursing profession and have that be the core focus of the different avenues that I've gone down as a nurse.
Yeah, I've spoken to a few people. One person did a lot of mission work after she became a nurse. Another person, she did mission work and that inspired her to become a nurse. One of the great things about being a Navy hospital corpsman, when I was attached to the Navy or to the Marines, I had plenty of opportunities to do a lot of humanitarian work, whether it's in Africa or downtown San Diego, trying to get Vietnam vets who are homeless in the system. It's just very rewarding. With my own kids, charity is really one of the few things I know that can bring someone down to earth, make them humble, and just see how the other side lives.
Yeah, nothing will make you have gratitude like seeing the situations that other people are facing. It gives such a deep sense of how much God has blessed you with when you understand how other people are experiencing life.
And you think you're bringing something to someone else, but what you're really coming away with is so much more.
Yeah.
And I remember doing a clinical in nursing school. It wasn't like an AA. It was just people who were drug addicted and sober, and they had their meetings. And one of the people, he said, you don't keep anything you don't give away. I've lived by that. Whether it's knowledge or whatever it is that you have, give it to someone else, and that's how you keep it.
That's such a profound statement.
Yeah. One of those moments where you're sitting there and you're like, okay, this is interesting. And then just someone drops a bomb like that. You're like, I'm never going to forget this.
Yeah.
This was worth the whole semester just to hear that one
Yeah.
statement.
No kidding.
What was the moment after you became a nurse when you realized that there's a lot more to taking care of human beings than just taking care of human beings? Hello, ladies and gents. I'm RN Glenn, aka Nurse Dad, former Navy hospital corpsman, current ER nurse. And if you like what we do here on the Nurse Dad podcast, please go to mynursedad.com and hit subscribe. Thank you very much. And of course, stay hungry, be humble, Nurse Dad out. For me, for example, when I left the military, I thought I would never have to wear a flak jacket again. And then very soon after a few ER shifts, I learned that that's a kid. That's okay.
She's showing me her coloring page.
I'm there with you. If my kids were home right now, but I have something which it feels like when you're a nurse, it's very much like I'm wearing this again.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And there's sappy plates in that. I do my lives actually wearing a flak jacket, but no, it's just it's something I try to spread awareness to, because I feel like we're losing so many people at the bedside because they don't understand what they're getting themselves into. And a lot of people, there's that moment in the profession when you realize that there's just so much more to nursing than taking care of people. Did you just go into critical care? When was it when you realized, wow, this is something else? This isn't what I thought it would be, in a good way or a bad way? Something that made you have to make an adjustment.
I did go right into critical care. The first patient that ever passed away under my care actually died from an aortic dissection. He was just in for a routine mesh placement, and he was only in the ICU for a 12-hour observation post-placement. He was like awake in his chair eating. Like, we were having a conversation actually about how much he missed eating spinach. And then it ruptured and he bled out and died right in front of me. And I think I was, I don't know, like 22 or something at the time. And that rocked my world.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of gearing up and you train for all of these high intensity moments, and you think it's going to be this like crazy, like gunshot victim or
Right.
heart attack, and 1 minute you're having a conversation and the next minute he was gone. And
it wasn't in the code room. You're just sitting
Oh.
down casually with somebody. You don't
Yeah.
expect that to happen.
he had his lunch tray in front of him. He was sitting up in his recliner eating his lunch tray, telling me how much he missed eating his mom's spinach. That was his favorite thing. That moment shaped so much. I lost control of myself. I was like sobbing. I was like a total mess. And one of my attending physicians literally grabbed me by the arm, looked at me in the eyes, and said, "It's not your turn to be sad. It's your turn to work." And that line has defined so much in my life. It's not my turn to be sad. It's my turn to work. So put your emotions aside. It's time to take care of somebody, because it's not just the person in front of you. It's not just the patient. It's their family. It's their soul. You're walking with somebody on the brink of life and death. And so it's my turn to do the best that I can, to bring the best that I have, to do the best assessments, to be the most caring and meet that person where they are in that moment, because you never know when that'll be the last minute.
It gets better, I feel, as you get older. You have more life experiences and you can relate more to people in different situations.
Walking into critical care when I was that age was really intense. And I remember sitting in the parking lot crying that I didn't want to go in and I didn't want to do this. It was too much. But like every day you just went back in and did it again. But I do think with age not only comes clinical expertise and understanding, but it also brings a lot of perspective on how to compartmentalize and care for people.
Can you see me?
No, it just said that your screen was overheated.
Sorry, this never happened before.
It's totally fine.
My camera is in the skylight. Wow, this never happened before.
No problem.
My camera was sitting in the sun. I have a skylight in this room. This never happened before.
Your lighting is really good.
Sorry.
So that makes sense.
So sorry.
No, it's okay. Normally my lighting is really good here, but it's pouring rain. So we usually have all this great
Never
natural light.
happened. That has never happened to me before. I'm here with Kate Johnson and my camera. I apologize. I've done this podcast for 2 years and it never happened to me before. I'm just trying to get it out of the sun.
Oh gosh, that's fine.
It's a one-man show.
I feel like tech issues are always so frustrating too, because it's always something new and fun.
Because of the time of day, I guess the sun was directly on the camera. Still recording. Roll with the punches. Only an ER nurse and a critical care nurse could bounce back from that kind of distraction. Your channel also, by the way, if you're looking for a sign from God to start a cookbook, you can consider him channeling through me to tell you to do so. I screenshot some of your recipes.
Everybody makes eating healthy way too complicated. It doesn't need to be that complicated.
No, it's basic stuff. I recently learned how great cottage cheese is and how you can make cottage cheese pancakes and pretty much put this protein boost in just about everything that you make for the kids.
Yeah, it's so neutral, like such a neutral flavor and so easy to work with.
Just don't drink the Kool-Aid, whether it's big pharma or the food industry or education, mainstream education. Have you always had this kind of an awareness? This sort of defiance to the corporate stockholders who feel like they know better than you what's good for you and your kids? Like, where does this come from?
So no, actually, I think embarrassingly, one of my things I wish I could go back and reset in my thinking when I was working bedside in critical care was I had this sort of tacit opinion that we did all of this really cool, high-end, life-saving medicine because Big Pharma was funded and supported by all of the people who take medications on a regular basis. And so we needed people to be on all these medications so that we could have these really cool, high-end things. It wasn't until I went to work for Blue Cross Blue Shield and I was doing like a patient development program where we wanted people to be more engaged in preventative health initiatives. And with absolute glee and so proud of themselves, one of the executives of Blue Cross Blue Shield stood up at a meeting and said that 80 cents of every medical dollar is spent on pharmaceuticals. And that stopped me in my track. That moment shifted everything I thought about how the marriage between big pharma medicine and the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies go. So they were really proud of that. That was an accomplishment for them. And the metrics by which we were measuring if people were improving their health was if they were compliant with their medication regimen. And that's, I don't know, something about that moment just shifted how I saw everything and was like, the point of what we're supposed to be doing is making sure people aren't on medication, not pushing more medications on them, not trying to encourage them to be super compliant with their medication regimen. That's not improving anybody's health. That's just putting a Band-Aid on a very deep wound. So
Now you have companies like that buying medical facilities.
This all actually came out of Obamacare, that they needed to have standardized metrics by which they could base reimbursements. And so the private health insurance companies adopted that same standard. But those standards don't improve anybody's health, and they only create this labyrinth of issues for individual providers where they then are left to the mercy and predations of big conglomerates to buy them up so that they have administrative support and they have all the billing support in order to make sure that these offices stay viable. If you've noticed in your communities, you're starting to see the same name pop up on every single medical building. That's because that conglomerate is purchasing up every single medical practice in that area. And they are then not allowing individual providers to provide medicine to an individual patient. It's now becoming essentially just an algorithm by which they administer the same set prescriptive regimen to every single patient. This is where a lot of the breakdown in trust with the healthcare community has come from, is we don't have individualized care. You walk into a doctor's office and honestly, it's not the provider's fault. It would be so easy to say, oh, these providers are terrible, but really it's not their fault. It's the system that we have created for them to exist in that makes it very difficult for them to actually practice medicine. They're forced into this very set regimen that they are allowed to do. And the only metric that they are judged by really is how many patients they can see in a day. So it's
You let
burden
go some of the
shared.
doctors I've had. That's their biggest complaint. You're supposed to get to know somebody and you have 15 minutes,
Yeah, if you're lucky.
if you're lucky.
So it's a really frustrating system. And I think, honestly, I think this is where the nursing profession has a wide open lane to really take our experience, our expertise, our knowledge, and use that in a very constructive and productive way to help inform and educate the community in a real way. So I don't have all the answers. I took my son to the doctor this morning because he's got a skin condition I had never seen before. So they're a wonderful resource. They're a wonderful tool. But if we can get people away from having to be so dependent on their individual provider, if we can get closer to a once-a-year visit that's mostly a well checkup and people have a functional baseline understanding of how to take care of their health overall, then I think we can start to chip away at some of these problems that we've seen institutionalized in the Western medical system. And I think
Yeah.
nurses play a really key part in that, in being leaders of health and wellness in their communities.
COVID really threw people off. I feel that as a nurse, I get a lot more suspicion on the part of the patient, as if I'm tied to everything they don't like about their healthcare experience or what the media was telling them. And I find that, like, God forbid, because it's a mandatory question, I always hate having to ask people if they've gotten a certain vaccine, especially flu season.
Yeah.
Oh man, the looks that you get. And the whole trust the experts, when you take science and a lust for power and you mesh it together, you don't get something that a lot of people want to trust.
When I was in labor with my oldest daughter, it was July of 2020. And I got to the hospital almost ready to deliver her. It was really fast labor. And the nurse, instead of taking care of me, checking on the baby, was literally like chasing my face around, trying to put a mask on me because it was like the middle of COVID era. I'm not blaming her. I understand how this happened. But that created such a barrier of distrust because I didn't have COVID. I'm in labor. I'm like, and as a nurse, I wanted to do bad things.
Yeah, no, we had our firstborn in May of 2020, and you would have thought my wife was giving birth to a bag of cocaine. And thank God the New York governor had been overturned. Long before that, fathers, they weren't allowed in the delivery room.
I was in Washington, D.C. I was almost 2 weeks late. I think my body held out until they lifted that because it was like 4 days before she was born. They removed that restriction in Washington, D.C. because we had the same problem.
My wife, like she needed me there. She couldn't go to the restroom without me. So I can't imagine even in the days after that,
They
2
needed
days
you
in the
there
hospital.
just because it's like you're giving birth. You're giving birth.
Well, I want to be there too.
Yeah, like she just needs you. So
It
the
was an
thing,
ugly time, real ugly.
really ugly, and the things that nurses were forced to do like that is, of course, it broke down trust, and of course, people still look at you like, "Are you here to help me or hurt me?" Because a lot of the policies that came out of COVID hurt people, and people are still very distrustful of that because everybody was forced to participate in this charade of nonsense.
I was one of those people. I needed a job. I had to get the shot. I couldn't afford to not work. I saw people leave. They wouldn't get the shot. And then it was ridiculous. It was, if you had symptoms, stay home. But then it was because of the shortage. If you have symptoms, wear a mask. And I was just saying to myself, what was the point of getting rid of people who didn't want to get the vaccine? Because now I'm sick. Now, I didn't have COVID, but people may have COVID. They're going to work as nurses and you're telling them just wear a mask. Like, what's the whole point?
What was
But
the point? I
yeah,
know in DC tried to. We had moved to Florida by then, but Washington D.C. tried to
I was in
essentially.
Queens.
Bless you. They tried to sue me essentially for not getting the COVID vaccine. They mandated that everybody who was a registered nurse in Washington D.C., no matter what position you held, this is the Board of Nursing, every single registered nurse get a shot. And I'd already moved to Florida. My license was in DC was going to expire in a few months. I was not going to renew it. But they tried to come after me. Thankfully, I was able to work with Governor DeSantis in Florida and helped Florida create legislation that protected people who had moved here, who were licensed in another state, because that would have hurt my license here. So if you were penalized in another state for refusing the COVID shot, that would not be carried over to your licensure in Florida.
First, the people that you've worked with is incredible. I'm always mistrustful of anything that's for a health benefit or an educational benefit that comes with dictator-like rules and punishments. I'm always a little suspicious of that.
Just a little. Don't worry, we're from the government. We're here to help.
I know,
Scary.
because
Scary as words.
you have such a great track record.
It is a shame, though. I will say, just as somebody who very much believes in the power of Western medicine when it comes to if you have a trauma, if you are in critical care, you want to be here. You want to be in our system. It's unbelievable the things that if you have an emergency, you want to be in your ER. We have unbelievable medicine. And it's so offensive to me that bureaucrats sitting in stuffy offices who don't touch patients, don't care about patients, don't care about anybody individual health, we're able to break down a system that for so long has been the crown jewel of America's economy. The nursing in particular is the most trusted profession for 20 years. And the damage that was done not by us, but to us is so offensive to me. And I'm determined to do my part to repair the trust that people could feel in the nursing community.
I try. I have a shtick that I do, an approach as a nurse. I feel like the white coats are there to make them, remind them that they're in the hospital. My job is to just try to take their mind off of it as much as I can. Just I'm there with them. We're waiting together. What can I get for you? And as much as time allows. Luckily, right now I'm in a great place. It took a long time to get there. Usually before that, it was a lot of big ERs, level ones. You don't have much time, but for me, I don't want to just be at work and just do the job. I like to get to know people. I like to know what makes them tick. Obviously, some conditions, there's just no room for any kind of humor or lightheartedness. But for the most part, yeah, I like establishing a rapport with people, getting to know them and just trying to take their mind off of what their CAT scan results are not back yet, or you can't eat yet, you can't drink yet. Just try to take their mind off of it. That's always been my approach.
I used to tell patients they'd come in and they'd meet with the vascular surgeon who's an expert in valve repair because they have a vegetative growth on their valve that's a problem. And they're not fun people. The surgeons are not fun people. They don't have a lot of personality. And I used to tell people,
I heard that before.
I
kidding.
you don't want him to have spent a lot of time honing his personal skills. Okay. That guy is obsessed with valves. That's all he does. That's all he cares about. You want me to be the nice person that you get to interact with
Yeah,
and has good bedside manner. But it's his job to know what to do when he's replacing that valve. That's all he
exactly.
cares about. That's all he does. And so it's okay that he's not super warm and friendly. And he
Yeah,
would be like,
exactly.
oh,
That's not
okay, yeah.
his or her forte. They save your life and keep you going during the cutting process. We wouldn't say it like
Yeah,
that, but
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. But when your chest is cracked open, he's not there to make jokes with you. I'll take care of that when you're on the other side.
yeah. I used to fight tooth and nail with this, but politics and healthcare are entwined, perhaps more than education. You had told a story on your Instagram recently. It was very touching. You were getting choked up saying it. I think it was your fourth child. There was a cardiac issue when you were pregnant. Was it a possible valve issue?
My second pregnancy,
Your second. Okay.
when they did her 20-week scan, they saw a cardiac anomaly. And so we went to all these higher level scans, and they concluded after a very in-depth echo that she had a transverse aorta. So essentially her aorta was plumbed backwards. So she wouldn't be able to oxygenate her blood. They thought after I delivered her, she would be purple, and they would take her immediately and put her on ECMO and try to get her a heart transplant. That was what we were expecting. But when she was born, her heart is perfect. There were no.
Well, we did that, which is amazing. But when you were saying that, because of another story I had read, I couldn't help but wonder if you were in a different state or community or a local culture, especially if you were younger, maybe less experienced, maybe somebody would have along the way tried to tell you to, hey, maybe suggest an abortion. When I was hearing that story, I was just thinking to myself and thinking to my kids, boy, 5 minutes with my kid would be so much better than no time at all. The fact that you had faith in that situation and you went through with it. Did anyone had suggest that? Was this like, I'm just trying to put myself in that situation. Did someone try to present all options to you? Was there any kind of, I don't know, like I said, if this had happened in certain areas, I wonder what certain doctors would have recommended to you. Hello, ladies and gents. I'm RN Glenn, AKA Nurse Dad, former Navy hospital corpsman, current ER nurse, and host of the Nurse Dad podcast. And if you like what we do here, please go to mynursedad.com and hit subscribe. While you're on the website, you'll see a pop-up. Fill it out for my free guide, and it will also enroll you in my newsletter. And no, I will not over-email you or spam you. While you're on my website, scroll down and you'll run into my Instagram. In the meantime, thank you for what you do, and stay hungry, be humble, Nurse Dad out.
I was advised to, quote, consider my options, and meaning termination. And I just immediately said, I'll be having this baby
Yeah.
no matter what. And so after that, it was never brought up or broached
Okay.
with me again. I delivered in the Catholic hospital,
Okay.
and it is a very pro-life area
Yeah.
that we live in, which is part of the reason that I want to live here. And we actually don't use conventional health insurance. We use something called Share Care, which is like a Christian health
Heard of that.
insurance company. Sometimes you'll get pressure from the health insurance company to terminate if they were to find this out. But because we use a Christian company, they were all in, completely supportive, whatever it took. So
Right there, just an example of not putting the person first.
yeah,
The company deems it not worth the risk, or maybe you wouldn't be at a Catholic hospital. I work at a Catholic hospital now and I freaking love it. It just made me think about that because I just have read certain stories and certain people make decisions and you just wonder who's in their ear.
oh yeah. I think depending on what my response would have been, like, oh, could you tell me about the options? Or depending on what the response is, maybe I would have been pressured one way or another. They certainly pressured me to do genetic testing, which I did do because a lot of times cardiac anomalies come with other genetic issues like Down syndrome or something like that. So as a way of knowing if we would need to be prepared for that, I did do genetic testing, but not as a way of being informed on any kind of life decision. There is really no circumstance where the life of the mother dictates that you need to abort. Now, you might need to deliver, and maybe you're delivering too early for a viable pregnancy, but you could at least try. There really is no excuse because you have to deliver the baby no matter what. I just had a 10-week miscarriage a few weeks ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Even at 10 weeks, you have to deliver the baby. That happens no matter what. Women have been fed this lie that somehow if you terminate, you don't have to deliver, but you do. There's no excuse. There's no rational reason why that should be offered. I guess that is political, but it's moral more than anything.
I'm in a situation where I'm not Catholic, but my daughters are, and I want to start religion with my oldest. I was raised Lutheran, so I'm trying to approach that. I just feel like in today's world where it's not like back in the day, it just seems like there's a lot less people that are working together with parents and too many pseudo activists, whether they're in education or wherever they are, that want to treat your child like a project. I feel more than ever, I need them to develop a moral backbone. Let it be black and white. We'll develop that later in life. I want there to be a clear sense of what's right and what's wrong. Maybe 20 years ago, I wouldn't have felt as strongly, but with the way society is going now, it's absolutely vital that I encourage this. Yeah.
We are non-denominational, so I was raised non-denominational, but my dad was Catholic and my mom was Methodist, so
Yeah, it'd be a little easier if they were both Lutheran, but my wife wanted Catholic, so
nothing wrong with the Catholic tradition.
no, nothing wrong. I'm not Catholic, so it's new for me. It's new. My hospital actually has a 100-year-old Catholic church attached to it. It's a Catholic hospital, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, and we're gonna use that.
Oh, that's so cool.
We'll walk through the church, and they already know, be quiet and be respectful.
Yeah, I think it's so good. No matter what denomination you are, taking your kids to church and having them disciplined by the morals and values of the Christian faith. My kids, we talk about the fruit of the Spirit all the time. So they recite the fruit of the Spirit. And we always say, this is how people know you have Jesus in your heart. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things, there are no laws because those things are good things. And anybody who sees somebody demonstrate those kinds of characteristics and behaviors immediately recognizes those as good things. Raising your kids to have Christian morals and values, there are no laws against that. And that's how people know that my kids, that's how they know that you have Jesus in your heart. You can't do that on your own. You need Jesus working in you in order to be able to do that.
You were speaking about missionary work. When I was in the military, in Africa or areas in the Middle East, it didn't matter where it was. The only missionaries I saw were Christian missionaries, whether they were giving us toothbrushes or whatever it is to boost our morale. They were the only ones I've ever seen. I've never seen any other religion out there in the field, in the world, helping us out. It was just the Christians.
Yeah, there are two big medical ships that go out just to do Christian ministry work. It's the Mercy and
Comfort
Hope.
and Mercy.
Comfort and Mercy, yeah. And just how cool is that we have, like, out of the abundance of just the goodness in people's hearts, they hop on a boat and go to minister to people. It's amazing. It's such a beautiful thing.
I was told the American military is the largest humanitarian organization in the world. I was deployed with a Marine unit and we were on a ship on occasion. And even when that ship went to certain areas of the world, they would fly people in from certain island nations or whatnot that didn't have access to medicine, and they would perform cardiac surgery and things like that on the ship and then helicopter them back to their country. I wish more of that got attention because I was pleasantly surprised when I enlisted to see all that.
There's so much more good in the world, I think, than we see sometimes because the negative things are always what gets traction. But there's so many wonderful people who are doing good just because it's the good and right thing to do. It's encouraging to hear those kind of stories and to be reminded of that.
On social media, with controversy and gimmickry being so well rewarded, how do you stay true on your channel? How do you avoid all that?
I just don't really care. I show up. I decided a long time ago that I'm going to use social media as a way to talk to real people about real things. And whether that's me with no makeup and pouring sweat like beet red in my little gym with my kids running around me.
Yeah, I saw a video of you working out one morning, and I felt like, oh man, because I had just said to myself, I'm going to take today off, and I should have said that. And then I saw your video. You got kids around you. I'm like, oh man, now I feel terrible.
Oh my gosh. Just show up. And
Yeah,
if you were here, like, I guess in my house, you'd see the same version of me. I guess I don't know how to do anything else. So I just do what I'm doing, and I bring people along for it as best as I can. Obviously, there are parts of my life that are private, but I think that's the best way that I could possibly help show people, because my life is insanity most of the time. All my kids have been in this shot at some point today. It just is what it is. But one of the biggest things that I feel passionate about is helping moms understand that actually prioritizing yourself and your health is a gift to your children. Because first of all, your kids will adopt the behaviors and patterns and habits that they see you demonstrate, not what you say, but what you do. And having a mom who can show up and have energy and be vibrant and have capacity and not be just honestly so self-conscious. I'm almost 40. A lot of women in my age demographic feel very self-conscious. Just be able to exist in their own skin and feel good, both mentally and physically, is something I didn't have kids until I was 32. And part of my biggest fear of having kids was that I would somehow completely lose myself in this journey of having little kids. So part of the reason I show up raw and real is because I haven't lost myself, but I've created a new version of me. And having kids is a worthwhile endeavor. It's worth the investment. And it's hard and it's messy. And I don't have an aesthetic gym to go work out in that's quiet and my headphones are on and I'm jamming to music. But it still works.
yeah. People always see the toil, and they don't see so much of the joy. Just thinking about some of the things my kids say, it's just amazing to see them growing up and the things that come out of their mouth. One thing though, that's I think the most challenging is being husband and wife with kids. You can't be mom and dad together in private. For me, I think it just destroys that ability to be together. It's like you have to learn how to be mom and dad with your kids and then husband and wife together.
Yeah, one of the things my husband and I decided a long time ago is we don't watch TV. So at the end of the night, after the kids are down, we don't turn on the TV and we don't pick up our phones. That's our time. So whether that's 30 minutes before we fall asleep or we're going crazy and sitting on the porch for 2 hours to go to bed at 10:30, that's how we preserve our marriage, because that's sacred time for us. And I think devices get in the way of a lot of people's marriages in ways that they maybe don't even think about. It just is like habitual to turn on the TV or pick up your phone or whatever. 90% of the time, we are not touching our phones and we're not using a screen to create division, because like our kids take plenty of attention throughout the day.
Yeah. And I feel like today, you don't have the culture outside of kids riding their bikes and doing all these outdoor activities. And I find myself the one to just scoop them up and be like, all right, we're going to the playground. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to be outside for 6 hours. I remember when I was still in the bottle warming stage, I used to have an electric generator to warm up the bottles because we'd be outside for 6 hours. I'm like, these kids, when we're outside, we're going to be outside. They're going to know what it feels like. And
good for you, because there's people think we're crazy because we live outside, and people think we're crazy for that. But
no,
my friends calls my kids brown bathwater kid.
I'm thinking of we call the brown water navy, the river boats.
Like when they get their bath, they are dirty. They have burned that bath.
Yeah, pool baths during the summertime. I enlisted at 28. I was a city guy, and I thought I joined the Navy, which I did. I became a corpsman, but then somewhere along the line, they said, yeah, the Marine Corps is a department of the Navy. Marines will say the men's department, huh? But they get their medical from the Navy. So you're a strapping 235-pound athlete. You're going to go with the Marines. And so I'm in the field with the Marines in Camp Pendleton, and I'm outside, and I'm on an ISO mat, and might be a little drizzle or not. And there's coyotes at night, and I'm hearing, and But very quickly, I learned just how surreal and how peaceful it was to just, you feel like you're one with the environment. You're with the Marine unit, but you're doing everything you can to stay hydrated, to stay clean, to stay professional, to be well trained. And as the medical guy, I'm like the human heart in the machine. I want my kids to experience that. You don't need a medication. Some people, and I'm not disparaging medications, but if you're feeling stressed and you're feeling alone or whatever it is, outside has a lot of answers for you.
That is absolutely true in that kind of metaphysical sense, but also very much in a physical sense. There's so much research on the healing power of the sun. We've been taught to be afraid of the sun. Dermatologists will tell you that no amount of sun exposure is safe. We know that's not true. That the power of being outside to see sunrise and see dusk and setting your circadian rhythm, synthesizing vitamin D, the balance of your cholesterol, synthesizing hormones, hormone production, everything from sex hormones to your neurotransmitters are produced in that circadian rhythm complex and is set and regulated by sun exposure. That dynamic alone is so valuable. But then you go to the psych side of things, and the research is overwhelming that going for a walk, having a physical activity where you actually move forward in a walk, is as effective as an antidepressant.
Really?
So, as effective. Actually, some studies suggest more effective. So, just moving your body, you were designed to move, you were designed to be outside. Just using your body in a way that God designed it to be has humongous health benefits. A lot of people, they reach for the SSRI, they reach for the anxiety medications, and really, you could probably address a lot of those issues, not like intractable depression and
Of
things like
course. I
that,
know
but,
I know what you're talking about.
you know, the
You
ebbs and flows
got
of
to get
life.
outside your head. And I'm an avid reader. And there's a great play called The Petrified Forest, and it became a movie, and it was Humphrey Bogart's first film as a villain. And one of the things they said is, as technology becomes more part of our lives, people are going to become more neurotic. I know it's an older term, but it's true. It's just, you got all these too many choices. You got all these voices, all this information coming at you. It's so easy to just, you're on your screen. It's so easy to just get stuck in your head. And I have to say, from a healthcare provider standpoint, whether in military medicine or in civilian medicine, for me, one of the leading observations of people who, take their own life, they're people who can't get out of their head. Yeah. Well,
Yes,
that's
exactly.
my soapbox. We used to say in the military, no sleep like field sleep. And when I take my kids camping in the backyard, I love watching them sleep. They sleep so peacefully out in the tent. My kid, she lost her tooth in that tent. The tooth fairy came in the tent, and
Oh my gosh, that's
just
so
watching them.
cute. My 6-year-old cannot wait to lose her first tooth. She's every day checking, is it loose?
Yeah, she came in and
It's
she
so
actually
cute.
lost it, and she was shattered and crying. And I said to her, the tooth fairy is very understanding. If you write a letter and put the letter under your pillow, and the tooth fairy will honor that as if it's a tooth. And she wrote, "It's a great letter." It was a good moment. Real quick,
That's so
Kate.
cute. I love that.
Real quick, Craig. I won't keep you. I'm not going to keep you on much longer. I know you got stuff to do. I said, I saw you. I wanted to get to know you. We could delve into critical care nursing and that. And I would love to at some point. Like I said, I saw your page. I was like, I have to talk to this person. And I didn't think he would respond. And he did. And then I did more research. I didn't know that your husband has one of the top political podcasts in the country that I have watched for a couple of years now, because he brings so much common sense to things. I don't even look at things as political. I'm like, who's making sense? I'll see social media, and sometimes I stay away from family pics. I don't know why. It's like, you posted it, why not look at it? But then you had small kids, and I'm like, oh, I have small kids too. I'm like, that looks like Benny Johnson. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that is my husband. So it's so funny because a lot of people who followed me for years, like, because I call him Ben. I always have. And so anytime I refer to him as Ben. So people will follow me and follow him. And then years later, will be like, wait a minute,
Well, you know
that's
what it was?
your husband.
Meeting you and learning about you made him make more sense, because I'm like, that's a guy who's married to a nurse who's on top of it. No, but yeah, I wasn't sure it was Ben or Benny. His logo literally says Benny. I'm like, I don't know what to say, but
I know. So it's funny because we always say if you know him personally, you call him Ben. If you know him professionally, you call him Benny. So
yeah, I don't call people Johnny or Freddie unless you
yeah,
tell me to.
I know
Um,
it's the inverse with him.
yeah. Tell me keep up
Ben
the good work. Keep up
Ben
the good work,
Johnson's a
Ben.
pretty there are a lot of Ben Johnsons. So Benny is a little
Yeah.
more distinguishable.
And look, again, doing more research, you work with RFK. I would love to tell RFK the next time he does a campaign, just take your shirt off. Cannot believe this guy is 70 years old with a six pack and doing pull-ups.
He's so strong. He's so strong.
I remember he was on the campaign. He's trying to communicate with people. The media was not helping him out on that category. Then I saw a video of him at a gym doing pull-ups. I'm like, that's RFK. Then I paid attention. I'm like, I'm just impressed. I'm like, should have done that a little earlier.
I know. It is really impressive what he's able to do. It's also his stoicism is extremely impressive. Maybe he's not 100% right about everything, but he has convictions to change things. And I think anybody who has common sense can look at the current state of the health of Americans and realize that we need change.
Right.
And
Two things I'm going to bring up on that, and then I'll release you from custody because I know you got so much to do. I was just talking about RFK on my last podcast. I was talking with a nurse who had a seizure at work, and her hospital fired her for having a seizure. And not only that, cut her contract, they cut her boyfriend's contract. They just wanted her gone. And she hasn't had a seizure since she started eating clean. And she'll get like the aura, but then it just won't happen. And we were talking about RFK. Yeah, some of the things, I don't know everything, but all I do know is that he was one of the few people out there talking about clean eating on a mainstream level. And when he got to DC, you saw policies being enacted. I'm sure you work behind the scenes, but the fact is, like, for what, 40 years, 50 years, no one has ever talked about how much poison, literally poison, carcinogens in the food. No one in DC would ever acknowledge it until RFK got in there and was causing a ruckus about it. And you get companies like General Mills pledging to get rid of certain things in their foods. It's the first time in my lifetime in any mainstream way that you see politicians talking about the junk that's in food. And I give a lot of credit to RFK for that.
yeah, it's the first time that we've really ever seen big food companies being held responsible in any way for the products that they're putting out on shelves. So there's this tacit belief that if it's in the grocery store, then it's safe and fine. And while it's probably not going to kill you immediately, those are not real foods. So the campaign to just eat real food has been really effective because it doesn't get into the weeds. It doesn't complicate things. It doesn't promote one person's diet preference over another. It's just whatever you eat, make it real food. Stop buying things that are packaged, boxed, and bagged for the most part. And if you do that, you'll be huge steps ahead in your overall health. Just taking things back to the basics and making it simple, which is when I show what I'm cooking, I try to show it's just like a few real food things. That's it. Just make it simple. Stop overcomplicating it.
But what you said for the most part is the key. Like my kids, they go to birthday parties, they eat the cakes, they have the treats. And for some people, it's a little harder with work and everything. But one of the first things I did was I was like, all right, we're going to have real mayonnaise, real cheese, real jelly, real peanut butter, and no more flavored yogurts. I'm going to get Greek yogurt and then mashed berries or whatnot from the farmer's market. And just that alone, it was like 65% of what they eat on a daily basis is now pure food. And luckily, there are some selections out there. There's more so than there used to be.
I don't think a lot of people realize how much the government subsidizes food and food choices. So the amount of money that the American taxpayer pays to fund wheat production, to fund corn production, we could be taking those funds and funding apple farms.
What's it like as a nurse to feel like you're actually in the policy creating space? It's got to feel pretty wild to be working with certain people, like you said, with Governor DeSantis and with work with RFK.
really been rewarding to be able to use my background to inform things in a very real life way. That's always a perspective I bring is I know all of these people have a million initials behind their names, but what I have is real life experience. And I talk to real people every day and I interact with real humans. And
Yeah.
so let me tell you, you all have theories. I have knowledge.
Why we
And
need
it,
more nurses. We need more nurses in every space there is.
yes, yes. It's really rewarding to be able to talk about like real things that actually impact people in their everyday life, in their homes.
One more thing. You spoke of conviction, and this is more for me because you had made a post, you and your husband were showing support to Erica Kirk. You went to that trial to show support. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm still bothered just thinking about it, that the whole situation that a human being can be assassinated for their opinion in this country, and then to see actual professionals with their vitriol cheering certain things on. I made a podcast after that. I took it off of YouTube. It's on Spotify, but I was in the woods wearing my flak jacket, smoking a mini cigar like I used to do on deployment to de-stress. But I got to say, one of the things about that I've come away with is I see what conviction looks like. When you mentioned RFK's conviction, like Charlie Kirk, there are just so many people that were drawn to him who don't even hold the same beliefs. They look back and they see the stuff he put out there. I don't think I've ever encountered any human being in my life that had so much conviction. And I just realized going forward, whether it's on this podcast or in this world or with my kids, having conviction in what you're doing is so important. It's more important than even what you know. Have receipts and know what it is you're talking about, but just the conviction he had in what he was doing. Because you know that family, I just was like, as a cathartic experience, just tell somebody that I'm just forever changed by that whole situation. And yeah,
We
I don't
knew
know.
Charlie was a good friend for a long time. We were friends with him for close to a decade.
You posted a
Actually,
video
like,
about your house going on fire, right? And they took you in.
yeah, so him and Erica gave us their house. Charlie traveled all the time. So he was very rarely home and they just let us stay at their house as long as we needed until we could move back into our house. Charlie was one of the most impressive people for many reasons, but the main reason Charlie really impacted people was he not only understood what he believed, he could communicate it. And he practiced and was really skilled at the communication of his convictions and beliefs. And Erica was a big part of helping him hone that skill. When I first met Charlie, gosh, I think he was like 21. I don't even know if he was 21 yet. And he had very little self-awareness about other people around him. He was so in his own head. But the older he got, the more he was able to talk to somebody and listen to them and hear them. And Erica was a big part in helping shape that side of him. It's really sad.
No one can answer a question like him. He can assess somebody where they're coming from and in 30 seconds just give you an encyclopedic answer, but make it simple.
When he really cared about changing people's hearts and minds. He didn't just care about winning the argument or winning the moment. He cared about, I hope you come away from this experience and encounter with me
Yes.
a better person. With it, I hope I've planted a seed that will bloom into something. And that was always his heart. And it got twisted and distorted in so many ways, but he was a really good person.
I've seen people who weren't even very religious or spiritual, just totally changed by him. That changed my perspective forever.
Yeah.
Thank you for entertaining that with me. I was like, I don't know if I want to mention it, but the fact that you know that family, and of course I wish them the best. That's much of what I have, Kate. I'm still in my head. I cannot believe the camera cut out twice.
Ow.
2 years, it has never happened.
It always works out like that, I feel. Thank you for having me. It's been
Yes.
fun chatting with you. It's fun to talk about stuff from a strictly nursing perspective. I typically am the one bringing that, and I don't have anybody to receive it from in my spaces a lot of times. It's been really enjoyable.
You ever consider writing a memoir or a book? I'm trying to get through chapter 1 of mine. I was a writer, so It's just family and kids.
Kind
But you have so much you could talk about. You ever consider that?
I would love to do a cookbook. I actually would love to do that. And I'd love to do something like a storytelling cookbook.
Okay, I
I
can see
have
that.
an idea in my head of how I would do it, but I'd have to find the right publisher, somebody who
Yeah,
would believe in my idea of like storytelling through food.
I can see that. Yeah, the emotional aspect of it, a recipe for whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, food is more than fuel, right? Food is culture, food is connection, it's family, and having my kids cooking alongside of me, teaching them that skill has been without a doubt one of my favorite parts of parenting. Watching my little girls take their knives and sit with me and chop vegetables, and my son stirs a batter.
Yeah.
And
You have any real
it's
tough
like,
eaters? Because I have one for the ages. I have one for the ages. She's tough.
thankfully, all my kids are really good eaters. My toughest is my oldest, but it's more of like a control thing with her.
Yeah, I think I'm going through that too.
All my kids are like, thankfully, really, like truly, really good eaters.
And I've seen some of the recipes that you've done. It looks good. It looks good. But thank you, Kate, for coming on the podcast. I'll have your information, of course, in the description. Why don't you tell people where can they find you on Instagram?
Sure, I'm on Instagram at Nurse Kate Johnson. I am on the spicier version of me is on X at Nurse Kate John because Johnson is too long for X.
I don't know, for some reason, I don't know, X doesn't like me. I'm just not getting any traction on there. Instagram's good, TikTok, YouTube I'm trying to build up, but X is tough. X is tough.
It helps that my husband has 4 million
That's true.
followers.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
a retweet from him goes a long way.
Yeah,
on
that's
that.
true. That's true. Yeah, no,
So,
tell me, keep up the good work, and I'll be watching while I'm working out in the garage. Sometimes Benny Johnson will be my phone, among others, but, and you, I like scrolling through your page. I'm looking forward to whatever videos you have, but thank you very much for coming on the Nurse Dad podcast.
really nice to see you. Thank you.
All right, Kate, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.